Pretty cool, right? The girlfriend made it. Spoiler time. First, let's get this out of the way. Beauty and the Beast was a fantastic movie. Definitely worth to go see. If you've seen my other video, I rated it at an A- grade. So it is definitely worth spending the money to go see this movie. It is definitely worth spending the money to see it again. And it is definitely worth purchasing when it comes out on video. They changed some things in the movie, some little like facts, but it didn't actually change the storyline at all, at least the base of what we know. So I kind of liked that. You also see more background on Belle, like where she stands, where her mindset is. Like you didn't get much from her in the cartoon. There's just more on Belle. I kind of like it. You get more of a character development, and since none of this was in the original film, I can't argue whether I agree or disagree with it, but I mean, I liked it. There was more to it. Also, all the sing-along songs that we liked, they changed a few verses in some of the songs, which I'm fine with. It still flowed very well. I was afraid that people were going to start singing in the theater with the song, but I mean, that would have been cool, but I'm kind of glad they didn't, because I feel like it would have got all messed up when it got to lines that were clearly changed. So it is a musical movie. I don't like those kind of movies, but it didn't bother me. It's probably because I'm biased and I love Beauty and the Beast. You also hear songs that were not in the cartoon movie. See, all these little changes that I'm telling you don't actually change how the story goes at all. All the key things that you want are still in this movie. Now, since you know the story, there's not much I can say about this movie as far as the good stuff. I mean, it is what it is. I told you there's a few examples where they changed some things, but in the end the story goes the way it's supposed to go. Oh yeah, small detail. Okay, so they show the enchantress being, what is she called? The woman that approaches him in the very beginning of the story, that's like an old homeless woman basically seeking shelter from the storm, and she brings him a rose as an offering just for one night to stay in his castle. And when he turned her away, she was like, oh no, don't do that, you know, look past this and recognize beauty within. He didn't, and she was like, that's it. And then she turns all, woo, spell. Whoever that character is, she's in this movie, and like the entire movie. I kind of like that detail too. Okay, so a little bit in depth here. In the cartoon, Beast dies, and Belle's all over him crying and saying, no, and she says, I love you, blah, 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 right before that last petal falls. So it's like, just in the nick of time. Now, not this movie. Yes, of course, the happy ending still happens, but they switched a little bit. And even though you know the happy ending is happening, I felt something. I felt like, I don't know about grief. I felt sad. I got emotional, like almost teared up at this part coming up. So the last petal falls, okay, and then that's it. The forever effect starts to come in. And somewhere in there, after the petal had already fallen, I think she had mentioned that she had loved him, or said something significantly that said like, I love you, I'm in love with you, this is true love. Again, he is dead, by the way. So you saw like the castle kind of crumbling, because it's already going into effect, you know, you're too late. And you see all the furniture characters, you know, one by one stop moving, or say, oh, help me, and then they get stuck. They're stuck like in their furniture mode forever. And what made it sad about that, which I really liked in this movie, is they didn't do them all at once. They did them like one by one, slowly. And of course it went in the order of the ones you cared about the least to the ones you cared about the most. So the last two standing are like Lumiere and Codsworth, and there's nothing they can do. They're watching this happen and they're like in despair, like this is it. And there was like no time to say goodbyes for anyone else. It was like those two left standing, and Codsworth was like I can't move him, and he was like, it was an honor serving with you by your side, or something like that. It was just they really dug into making this part sad. And then Lumiere was just like, no, the pleasure was all mine, and just it was really sad to see how that happened. And then you see them all just turn to regular furniture, like they're stuck like that. That's it. This is the end. No personalities left. No soul left in any of this. They're just inanimate objects. So that happened. Everybody's gone. The beast is dead, and the castle looks like crap, and a storm and everything, and Belle's there crying all alone. It's over. Okay. The enchantress woman, whatever you want to call her, comes in, sees what's happening, kind of smiles, takes off this like, you know, whatever hood, and then she's like, and starts doing like magic stuff and brings everything back. It was like her time. It's like this whole curse was her time limit. It's to her will. She chooses if he had learned his lesson, basically, or not. I really like how they added that in the story. You can see the person that tried to teach him a lesson. It was a character that was cool to add into the story. Even though we know of her, you didn't see her at all in the cartoon. You just saw like the drawings of her in the very beginning of that this being came in and cursed him. Okay, enough about the good stuff. The movie's good, the story's good. It's classic Disney Beauty Beast. It's good. It's all good. Let's talk about what was not good for me. I don't know if you had heard, but basically it was announced that LeFou is gay. Now, at first that bothered me because I'm like, is that necessary? I mean, he could be gay, but we don't need to know his sexual preference because he doesn't get with any chicks or guys in the movie or even in the cartoon. It's irrelevant. Why would you need to make that known? But then again, if you watch the original cartoon, LeFou does have an odd closeness relationship with Gaston. And yes, some of those odd things in the cartoon to me suggest that he might actually be homosexual. So I can't actually disagree with the choice they made in this new one because it's entirely plausible. I just don't understand why it was necessary to be made known. The only reason I can see why it would need to be made known is because they wanted to add something of that in the movie, which I believe they did. So there's another gay guy in the movie, so okay, whatever, I don't care, sure. And I actually liked his scene. It was actually kind of funny. But at the very end of the movie, when they're all dancing, you see LeFou end up dancing with that gay guy. And it was literally like a second and a half. I don't know, that wasn't enough to suggest anything to me, but I guess people are just like, hey, LeFou's supposed to be gay, that guy he's dancing with is gay. Yeah, I don't know, just not necessary. Real quick, I do want to cover that, LeFou, was dancing in the end, in the ballroom where everybody's happy and back to normal. Yes, LeFou was there. Think about the cartoon one for a second. You don't see LeFou again after he gets pushed out of the castle with all the people that tried to break in. They all just ran and said, forget it. Gaston was the only one that stayed behind. After that, you never saw LeFou again, so you don't know what happened. Actually, I'm not even sure in the cartoon if you see him get pushed out of the castle. But in this one, LeFou does not get pushed out. He actually changes sides. He's just fed up with what Gaston has become, and he can't follow in his footsteps anymore. So now he's going against what they are trying to do, and he becomes one of the good guys. So in turn, he sticks around, and then he's there now, like in the castle and at the ball, and blah 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 blah. That's how he ended up there, which is fine. I'll go with that. That's a happy ending. I also like LeFou's character. He's really funny. All right, back to the gay stuff. So there's a part where they're singing the Gaston song in the pub. Now, I don't know if you remember the cartoon, but there's a point where Gaston gets into a brawl with a bunch of guys, just starts beating him up, and then he grabs some guy's ankle or something and bites it. And then the guy that got bitten, it goes to him and he's like, nobody bites like Gaston. Well, this time, LeFou sang that part. And when LeFou got to the part of nobody bites like Gaston, LeFou lifted up his shirt and there was a bite mark on his stomach, and LeFou is supposed to be gay. That really upset me. That was one of my favorite songs in this movie, and I was all into it. And then I got to that part, and I was like, and just completely, I'm out of the realm of the song. I'm sitting there trying to figure out what just happened and what are they talking about. If you saw the movie, do you know what they're talking about? What is happening? Are they insinuating that Gaston is gay? So I just have a bunch of question marks in my head about that, especially for a Disney movie. I don't know, just so the A+, whoosh, gone. This movie's just an A now. And last but not least, what's the biggest ending, or at least for me the biggest ending, is the fight. So Beast versus Gaston. It wasn't a good fight. No, I enjoyed the cartoon one more. Cartoon fight was short. The fight in this movie was short. Nothing really epic about the fight at all. I mean, they only had the one part where Beast finally is happy because he sees Belle come back, and he's like, oh, now I give a crap. Grabs Gaston by the throat and hangs him over the cliff. That whole scene. And then of course Gaston turns into a coward and starts pleading for his life. I'll do anything. Beast regains control and brings him back in, and he says right to his face, I am not
a beast.
And then he throws him down, and then he's like, get out. Then you think he's leaving, and then the Beast goes to see Belle, and then like, oh, happy ever after. And then like somehow Gaston, you know, gets him in the back. I'm gonna say, he doesn't stab him, he shoots him. In the cartoon, Gaston slips after stabbing Beast in the back because they're both like on the same like tower. What I'm breaking down to is I wanted a bigger ending for Gaston. Anyways, Gaston is standing on the bridge and it starts to crumble. 5 seconds, okay? Crumble, he looks down. Crumble somewhere else, he looks down. All crumbles, and then you just see him, ah! It was literally like 5 seconds. It was like no build to it. It was just underwhelming. That's the word I'm looking for. It was very underwhelming for the mighty Gaston to die like that. I was hoping just for something more epic. Anything more. So for that huge disappointment from me on the ending of like the main thread of the movie, just, you know, falling into a nothingness more than the actual cartoon movie, I bumped this down to an A- grade. But it is still the best movie I've seen this year so far, and I definitely recommend you go see it as soon as possible. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and let me know, and I'll see you on the next movie.